Hey everyone, I'm Harold B. Panlangkay and I'm here to discuss the histogram. Most of us is deal with data in our day-to-day operation. Often, we come across situations where we have to analyze data and interpret to management about the behavior of certain group of items. To present the data in a simple and catchy manner, we use graphical tools sometimes. There's a lot of graphs like pie chart, bar graph, histogram, and many more, which we use for different purposes. Histogram is one such tool used to represent the frequency of distribution of data falling into different groups of a population or sample. So, histogram is one of the powerful quality planning and control tool to understand the preventive and corrective actions. In a given situation, it shows the different cause of problems. It reflects these frequencies in a tabulated adjacent rectangles. The height of the bar or adjacent rectangles is analyzed further to discover corrective or preventive actions. Next is who discovered the histogram. So William Playfair was born in September 1759 and died in February 1823. He is a Scottish economist, inventor, and polymath. So he first introduced the word histogram in 1786. So he introduced the idea of graphical representation in statistics, and also he invented the line chart, the bar chart, and histogram and incorporated them into his work on economics and the commercial and politic atlas. So, he was born in 1857 and died in April 1936 in Islington, London, England. So, he is a English mathematician and biostatistician. So, he was first introduced and coined the histogram. So the purpose why he invent histogram is to roughly assess the probability distribution of a given variable by depicting the frequencies of observations occurring in certain range of values. Histogram. So a histogram is a graphical representation that organizes a group of data points into user-specified ranges, similar in appearance to a bar graph. The histogram condenses a data series into an easily interpreted visual by taking many data points and grouping them into a logical range or bins. So the histogram is a kind of bar chart showing a distribution of variables or causes of problems. In short, a histogram is a bar chart, especially in TQM. It shows the frequency of a cause of a problem occurring where the height of the bar as an indicator of the most affecting reason. And also, a histogram is a popular tool to analyze a large amount of data. The histogram can help you represent frequency distribution of data clearly and concisely amongst different groups of a sample, allowing you to quickly and easily identify areas of improvement within your process. With a structure similar to a bar graph, each bar within a histogram represents a group, while the height of the bar represents the frequency of data within that group. Histograms are particularly helpful when breaking down the frequency of your data into categories such as age, days of the week, physical measurement, or any other category that can be listed in chronological or numerical order. The next is the part of histogram. So, we have four parts of histogram. The first part is the title, the second part is the x-axis, the third part is the y-axis, and the last part is the bars. So, first is the title. So, the title describes the information included in the histogram, while the x-axis are intervals that show the scale of values which the measurements fall under. And the y-axis shows the number of times that the values occurred within the interval set by the x-axis. And lastly is the bar. So the height of the bars shows the number of times that the values occurred within the interval, while the width of the bars show the interval that is covered for a histogram with equal bins. So the width should be the same across all bars. So the next is the example of a histogram. So here are the scenario. So I is the branch manager at a local bank. Recently, IE's been receiving customer feedback saying that the wait times for a client to be served by a customer service representative are too long. So IE decides to observe and write down the time spent by each customers on waiting. So here are the findings from observing and writing down the wait time spent by 20 customers. So the corresponding histogram with 5-second wins or 5-second intervals would look as full second. We can see that there are 3 customers waiting between 1 and 35 seconds, and there are 5 customers waiting between 1 and 40 seconds, and there are 5 customers waiting between 1 and 45 seconds, and there are 5 customers waiting between 1 and 50 seconds, and lastly there are 2 customers waiting between 1 and 55 seconds. So I can conclude that the majority of customers wait between 35.1 and 50 seconds. So the next is a histogram shape. The first is a normal distribution. In a normal distribution, points on one side of the average are as likely to occur as on the other side of the average. So, the next is a bimodal distribution. In a bimodal distribution, there are two peaks in a bimodal distribution. The data should be separated and analyzed as separate normal distributions. The next is the right skew distribution. A right skew distribution is also called a positively skewed distribution. In a right skew distribution, a large number of data values occur on the left side with a fewer number of data values on the right side. A right skew distribution usually occurs when the data has range boundary on the left hand side of the histogram. For example, is a boundary of 0. So the next is a left skew distribution. So a left skew distribution is also called a negatively skewed distribution. In a left skew distribution, a large number of data values occur on the right side with a fewer number of data values on the left side. A right skew distribution usually occurs when the data has a range boundary on the right hand side of the histogram. For example, is a boundary such as 100. The last is the random distribution. A random distribution lacks an apparent pattern and has several peaks. In a random distribution histogram, it can be the case that different data properties were combined. Therefore, the data should be separated and analyzed separately. The last slide is how to create a histogram using Excel. So here are the step-by-step procedure on how to create histogram using Excel. So step 1 is open the data analysis box. So this can be found under the data tab as data analysis. Step 2 is select histogram. Step 3 is enter the relevant input range and bin range. In this example, the range should be input range tas yung number, then the bin range and yung intervals. Then make sure that that you click the chart output and click OK. Again, I'm Harold B. Palangka reporting.